right, let's focus in on end-to-end logistics solutions player for the e-commerce sector, and that is Ecom Express. It's in focus as they have just raised $36 million from CDC Group, that's the UK government's development finance institution. To talk more about this as well as their forward-looking plans is K Satyanarayana. He's the director and co-founder at Ecom Express. Satya, thanks much for joining us on Startup Central. Let's talk about this fundraise then, $36 million. What is it that you're going to utilize these funds towards? And tell us a little bit more about the expansion plans for your network, where it's currently at, and what you aim to do with these funds.
Yeah, and Evan, thank you so much for inviting me to this session. We did raise the funds recently from very reputed investor CDC. What you mentioned. This fund primarily we wanted to use in terms of the building our infrastructure, upgrading our infrastructure more in terms of the automation. The automation is going to be playing a very key role in terms of defining our next level of scale where we are going to operate, and plus also coming out with the large size facilities. And to support those facilities, we wanted to invest more in terms of automation. And as far the expansion is concerned, we've been expanding ahead of the curve over the last 7 years of our existence. And in fact, the first 4 to 5 years, we heavily invested in terms of expansion ahead of the curve. As we speak to you today, we are present in almost 26,000 pin codes across the country, and 20 states we cover every nook and corner. And 60% of our volumes we basically handle in the completely hinterlands. And today we have capability to reach around 90% of Indian households. So that's the kind of strength what we created. And as we look forward to the next level of growth, the funds essentially we wanted to invest more in terms of handling this size and scale what we foresee in the next 5 to 6 years.
Let's just backtrack a bit, Satya, and talk a little bit more about the services that you currently offer. I understand that it's all to do with the e-commerce space. There's some branded services, digital services as well. What exactly is the business comprised of?
Yeah. See, we are e-commerce dedicated player basically. That means we are the fulfillment partner for e-commerce industry. Just an example you take, like if you place an order, online order on any digital platform, like any customer like Amazon, Flipkart, anybody for that reason, we basically, we are going to, once the pickup is assigned to us, we are going to pick up that particular shipment available wherever in the country with the seller and carry through our network and deliver it to you wherever you are in the country at your doorstep. Okay, this is essentially the complete, order fulfillment cycle what we follow across the complete our system. Okay, so that is about the express delivery services of the e-commerce shipments. Okay, now comes to digital services. Basically, see, having created so much scale and size and having created strength in terms of reaching almost 90% of the Indian households, what we thought of leveraging our entire size and scale to deliver ancillary services like KYC is one of the important element for any financial or telecom industry or fintech the companies, where we thought of giving our complete infrastructure in terms of they're basically fulfilling their own requirements in terms of either digital KYC or contact point verification or document collection or even to the extent of cash collection. So these are some of the services we are basically enabled in terms of leveraging our size and scale what we created. The other part of the services, basically the first mile side, where we call it as a fulfillment services. Essentially, these are basically warehousing services, where we have created, today we have approximately 1 million square feet facilities across the country, more than around 30 facilities, where we basically carry out the inventory of majority of the e-commerce companies at our warehouses, and we do the complete inward, the pick and packing, order processing and inventory, and then giving to the last mile distribution. So these are two other segments what we are carrying today. Besides express business, that is basically the order fulfillment for e-commerce companies, which is more than 90% of our complete activity.
Okay. Now, you've got a very impressive list of customers right now. There's Amazon, Infibeam, Jabong, Myntra, etc. Tell us a little bit more about how you're going to expand this overall customer base and what the plans are on that front.
See, if you talk about the customers, I think we are catering to almost to all the customers who are operating on the digital platform in India today. And we are basically, we have taken birth, like, we four of us, we are the first generation entrepreneurs. We came into the business. And we saw pain points for the industry. Therefore, basically, we thought of creating an organization which can support the peculiar requirements of the e-commerce industry. I think that is that was the objective of the company when we created this organization. And we started operations on 31st January 2013 with 35 cities and 42 delivery centers only in North region, basically. And as we see over the 7 years, I think we did everything in terms of solving the industry problems, particularly in terms of reach. Because today the demand is largely generated from the beyond tier 1, tier 2 and metro sectors. I think there we've been able to really successfully support the industry in terms of creating the demand. And there we have been very successful in terms of creating so much demand for the industry that today 60% of their volumes really flowing into those completely rural sectors. Okay, that is one big strength we brought in. And with this, we've been able to connect to the sellers located across the country, which is the last mile, the end consumer. Approximately, we cater to the close to 1 lakh sellers, pickup points, and connected to the end customers, which will be approximately 5 lakhs customers every day. We are fulfilling the orders. Okay. Now coming to the customers, as I mentioned, we have all the customers in our fold, and we are catering to their requirements everyday basis, and we are meeting their completely delivery expectations, their fulfillment expectations, what would they promise to their customers. And we are becoming we are partnering with them in terms of fulfilling their complete expectations in the market.
Okay. Now, you've also got a lot of competition in this space. There's Alibaba-backed Express Bees. You've got SoftBank-supported delivery among the lot. What are you doing in order to have a competitive edge? Are you worried about the competition in this space?
Avan, frankly speaking, we are not at all worried about the competition in the space. We believe that we have very, very unique proposition in what we are doing. Similarly, competition has their own unique proposition. And we are backed by very marquee investors like Warburg Pincus, and recently with CDC. I think we have most reputed investors behind us in terms of what we are doing. Okay. Now, as far as competition is concerned, I think the industry today, it's a very large industry. If you look at, I think people normally compare to China. I think we are more or less maybe 10 to 15 years behind China what does today. Okay, and our organized online retail is not even 4% of the complete retail industry which operates in India. I think we are still at nascent stage in terms of what we are doing for the e-commerce, in terms of e-commerce transactions in India. Okay, so there is so much scope, there is so much space for players to really operate and prove their mettle in terms of really meeting the industry expectations. I think what we did very, very clearly in terms of like for example, when I said 26 pin codes, believe me, it's like equivalent to the Indian Post, which no other player has been able to match the kind of reach we are given to the industry. I think that we started before even anybody expecting. In fact, to say simply, we created logistics and industry followed basically in terms of generating orders from there. That means logistics creation enabled industry growth in those pockets. I think that's what we created. Okay, and plus the competition has their own models to operate. We also have own models. Yes, plain vanilla, we must be fulfilling the same. But the fact is, we are undeterred. We have undeterred focus in terms of the handling only e-commerce industry requirements, whereas others could be having some different focus. But I think in our case, we are particularly focused in terms of e-commerce industry, and we believe in this industry growth, which is growing more than 35 to 40% every year. This growth is going to be continuing, if not less, at least next 1 decade minimum. Okay, and there is enough space for competition to play around, enough space for everybody to prove their own worth in terms of handling the complete distribution. Plus also, in my view, there could be even possibly there is space for even one more player or not two more players to come in. But the fact is, even if that time anybody comes in, I think we have covered so much ground in terms of
Right.
creating the infrastructure,
Right.
creating
So
the
I
reach,
understand, given
and
that
the defining the complete network.
Right.
I think it will take some time for people.
Right. So given that you said that you're undeterred by competition, the sector is growing very smartly. Give us a sense in terms of your financials. Then, I understand that you have revenues of close to 1,000 crore rupees, and that you turned operationally profitable in the second half of FY19. What are your financial metrics? What kind of margins are you working with then?
See, I'll tell you. In fact, that's what I was mentioning to you. See, we have created infrastructure, we have created reach ahead of the curve. Okay, so basically, first 4 years we have focused in terms of creating the complete infrastructure. So thereafter, last 2 to 3 years, we've been able to clearly leverage the complete infrastructure as industry was growing. So therefore, the given infrastructure, we've been able to have better productivities, whether you talk about the first mile, you talk about mid mile, you talk about last mile, or in terms of leveraging our own facilities in terms of now handling those kind of volumes. Okay, so otherwise we've been operationally profitable in the last 2 to 3 years. Okay, the last year when we closed the year, we shown almost close to 80% growth on the top line, plus also we've been PAT profitable. I think that is one of the best thing what we did as a startup company. Believe me, this is, I think, a very, very unique proposition in terms of a startup world to really become turn profitable. I think something we did right in terms of what we are doing, the kind of respect we show for the capital, for the investors' money, and the kind of decisions we take in terms of being prudent in what we are handling, how the business is being conducted, because all four of us bring in experience of our most cumulative experience of more than 100 years. That really helped us in terms of defining the business fundamentals so strong that we are really, we basically becoming profitable in a very short period of 7 years only.
All right. Thank you for joining in, Satya, and for giving us, more insight into your business. Yes, indeed, with the likes of Warburg, Pincus, and now CDC backing the company, that really tells a lot in itself. But thanks so much for joining in with your perspective.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Avan. Thank you. Bye.